Hey guys, you're now tuning into another episode of Off and Tangents podcast. On behalf of Jake and I, we want to thank you for all the support throughout the community. It's been very encouraging for us.
Yeah, if you enjoy the content, guys, make sure you leave a like. You can follow us on Instagram and keep an eye out for our Spotify channel, which will be coming soon. Peace.
Hello guys, and welcome to episode 3 of Off on Tangents podcast.
Hey.
I'm Daniel Pompey, and my co-host here, Jake Clifton. Hey guys, how are ya? How you been, Jake? You been good? How's the hangover?
Not too bad, thankfully today. Yeah. Had a few too many last night, but I'm pulling through all right.
Yeah,
I'm feeling better than I expected.
Yeah. We'll get started off. We have a couple of topics to talk about, just all things NBA. We'll talk about the All-Star game, a couple of issues in Philly, and even what's happening in Philly, like the issues with Brett Brown, who's the leader in Philly right now, and a couple of adjustments
everywhere, really, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to be talking about the influence and the impact of J. Cole, who's my favourite rapper, by the way.
He's the greatest right now.
Yeah, well, Jake is actually... you're actually
seeing the light,
putting him over Kendrick now. Yeah, you're seeing the light, which is quite controversial. I mean, you still do love.
I still do love Kendrick, but
yeah.
Right now Cole is definitely taking the spotlight for me. I think just the entire rap game is taking over. Yeah, well, let's get cracked into it. We want to talk about the All-Star game this weekend. For those that don't know, it's going to be on Monday Australian time. I think it's in the morning. But we just wanted to talk about not necessarily the players or anything, but the format itself and how that's creating a schoolyard mentality of picking players. So there's a couple of weaknesses with the system, but we'll explain the format and how it works between picking players, how much votes the players, the media, the fans, even the fans get. Okay, so we'll talk about that, Jake. So basically, how it works is the captains, the two captains, which are LeBron and Giannis Antetokounmpo. I said that perfectly as well. Did you? It's a bit of a hit and miss, that name, isn't it?
Yeah.
Some people say it, even the broadcasters on the NBA say it pretty bad.
That's right. Yeah. So they're picked based on the most votes from the fans. Okay. So
so that's not based on coaches and other player votes at all. It's just based on fan votes.
Fan votes. Yep. Now the starters now. The starters, they get picked. It's a little tricky with them. So 50% of fan votes are counted towards picking the starters. 25% from the players, and 25% from the media. Okay, so the NBA media, they get to choose as well. But we don't know who those media people are. They just pick their votes and submit it. So
the media would be people like sports analysts.
Correct.
And the type of people you see on ESPN. Okay.
So that's how the starters are picked. Now the coaches pick the All-Star reserve. So all up there are 22 spots, 22 places, and it's pretty much broken up into those two categories: starters, reserves.
So fan votes just go out the door when it comes to the reserve spots. There's no popularity in that.
That's right.
Aspect. Which is good in a way, I think, because you then end up. It doesn't just become. It is a sort of a popularity contest that top the starter spots, and then afterwards it comes down to who deserves to be in this game, and I think the coaches and the players have a bit more of a unbiased opinion on that.
Yeah, that's right. Now, the NBA coaches, who is Nick Nurse for Team Giannis, I think, and Team LeBron is Frank Vogel.
Yeah.
So they're picked based on the best record in each conference.
Oh, okay.
But
how come Nick Nurse got it then?
Exactly right. I was about to come to that. Now, Nick Nurse was picked because Coach Mark Budenholzer, who's the coach for the Bucks, he can't get picked twice in a row. So they had the best record last year, and he was the coach, all-star coach, but he couldn't be picked for this year. Okay, so
they want the coaching they want everyone to get a turn in the coaching role.
Which doesn't make sense because LeBron and Giannis were the captains last year. So
it does.
I don't know. I mean, that's
LeBron would be LeBron's been the top receiving voter, the top fan vote receiver for almost 10 years or something, hasn't he?
Yeah. And so that's how it works. Now they're going to an NBA All-Star draft. Now, you may have seen LeBron and Giannis together in a live broadcast. I think it was on ESPN, and where they go pick their players. Now, Jacob alluded to something, to a weakness of the system. So, did you want to talk to the viewers about what that weakness is, that schoolyard mentality of picking players?
Well, that's pretty much the idea of what it's going into is sort of, it's similar to what you did back in the schoolyard where you the two best players go on opposite teams, and then it comes down to you pick your friends first, and then so I can see a similar sort of thing happening in the All-Star draft this year, where LeBron starts off his draft pick by picking Anthony Davis, and then Giannis, when it comes to the reserves, he picks Chris Middleton as his first pick. So you can see that there's definitely the friendships coming first, where you're gonna pick your teammate first. My issue with it isn't really that so much as I feel like when you get selected for an All-Star, there's a lot of pride that comes with that. You must be pretty proud of yourself. I'm in the top, as a starter especially, I'm in the top 10 players in the league in terms of at least my popularity. Sure. And you said 50% of it comes from players and media. So it's not just popularity. It's you are in the top 10 players of the league in terms of how you're viewed, in terms of your ability. So to then be selected in this sort of schoolyard way where, it's almost like you pick the best players first, and then to be selected last in that must be pretty insulting for the players who have been selected as starters, and they've got all this pride in what they've achieved, and then to be selected last. Like, for instance, James Harden was selected last for LeBron's team, and so you must be a little bit insulted that people like Luka Doncic, who's coming into his first All-Star game, gets selected before you. You must feel like, what's going on here? Similarly, Russell Westbrook ended up getting selected quite late in the, if not second last or last in LeBron's team in the reserves, and I'm just thinking, what's going on here? Like, it's just weird to me that there's players. Another thing I thought was a bit sort of insulting was Domantas Sabonis, who gets left for last. He's in his first All-Star game. It must be a bit of a sort of disheartening feeling to be the last one on the board, and you don't even, it's almost like when you get into school and if you're the last player picked, you're like, oh great, no one wants me on this team. So that's sort of the issue that I have with this new format. Whilst I do think it did allow for more competitive games in the All-Star game, because there was a feeling for a while it was pretty pointless, the All-Star game. It was just not really much of a feud, whereas I feel like when they changed this format, at least the first year when it was Curry and LeBron James as the two captains, there felt like some competitiveness was brought back. The only difference with that was they didn't broadcast the draft in that first year, so that to me became the issue. Was the first year they didn't show at all what order they were selected in, and that sort of allowed for a bit more mystery as to who got selected when. It was just the two teams were selected, and there was no idea of, this guy was left to last, this guy was picked first, he must be the most sought after in the team. Whereas now they're doing the broadcasting every year, and it sort of feels a bit schoolyardish.
Well, I mean, that's a great point you make with that schoolyard mentality. I mean, no one likes to be picked last. Like, that is just insulting. Especially for, as you alluded to, Domantas Sabonis, first All-Star game, he'd be pretty happy, pretty excited, only to find out that he got picked last. Like, it's just, that is a weakness in the system. I mean, further, there's also another weakness here. I don't know if you noticed, but Jimmy Butler's not a starter. Okay, he's not a starter. Now, for Team Giannis, it's Trae Young and Kemba Walker, which, don't get me wrong, I'm not disrespecting their talent, but I just feel like Trae Young wasn't a starter. Given Atlanta's record, I think they're second last in their conference.
Yeah,
and
well, they were last in the league for a good amount of time as well. Or they were tying last with Golden State. They've not been a great team.
Yeah. So with what I'm trying to say is Jimmy Butler is not a starter. Now, the reason he's not a starter is because, or I feel, is because he's not listed as a shooting guard. He's listed as a small forward, which is why he didn't get picked. But he's really playing the 2-guard position
in Miami this year.
Yeah, but he's listed as a small forward. So, but he gets put into the front court, not the back court. So that's a weakness in the system because. If
you're gonna talk about people you could have replaced, what about Pascal Siakam, bro?
Yeah, well, exactly.
I get you're a Raptors fan, but I don't see him as a starter in the All-Star game. No offense.
Arguable. Yeah. Who would you replace him with then?
Well, Jimmy Butler for starter would be my selection to replace him with. I was a bit surprised with that, to be honest, that he made the starting thing, and I think that comes down to a bit of the popularity because you say. The fan votes account for 50% of it in that starting thing. Yep. So obviously Pascal's been pretty popular this year among the Raptors fans, and don't get me wrong, he's had a great year, but I was a bit shocked that he made the starting team. I would actually argue that Trae Young belongs in there more than Siakam. If you're looking at the numbers that they put up, he's having a phenomenal year. He's been scoring over 29 points a game. So I would argue that Pascal Siakam's probably a reserve in the thing, and Jimmy Butler would be my starter over him.
Well, a strength of the NBA All-Star voting system is that it's interactive now.
Yeah.
Like we see coaches voting now, the media, and the fans now. Everyone's voting. Even other players are voting now, which is great for the NBA community and people who want to watch this game. Is really I feel like that's the strength of the game.
You feel like you get your say in.
Yeah,
even as an Australian supporter, like
exactly.
I could put in my votes this year,
and that increases fan interaction and which is good because I think it's starting to become a global game. You start to notice that's coming to Australia, it's coming to Asia, Africa, all of that. So. That's. I feel like that's this system. Look, any system has its weaknesses,
its flaws.
But,
it is a small flaw.
Yeah.
It's more. I think it just affects the players more than anything. As a viewer, I can see the enjoyment out of watching the draft. I found it quite interesting to watch, to say the least. So it is a good format for the viewership.
Yeah.
I feel like. It's only insulting if you're a player and you've earned, you put, this is your craft and you've put all your work into this, and then to see yourself get selected as if it's in a schoolyard, and it is a bit of a popularity contest.
Yeah.
So it does seem insulting. That's my only issue with it. But in terms of the game that we're provided with in the All-Star weekend, it's better.
Yeah.
It's getting better every year. They seem to be working towards making it more interesting. And it seems more competitive every year. I remember last year was a good one.
Yeah.
I think it was Team Giannis went off to a big lead.
Yeah.
And then LeBron's team came back and took over at the last few seconds. So we got a much better game out of it.
Well, who could forget that bounce pass from Curry to Giannis? And he pretty much got it from the top of the board and he dunked it in, and it just looks like stood up like this, chest out.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow.
That was crazy.
You know what I mean? Like, finally on the All-Star game issue, who are you picking for All-Star to win the All-Star game? Team Giannis or LeBron?
I'm gonna have to go Team LeBron, just in terms of you look at the starters and they've got James Harden, Kawhi Leonard, Anthony Davis, and Luka Doncic, and I'm looking at that and thinking, wow, how are you going to beat that team? On the other hand, both teams look pretty impressive, so it's going to be a good game. But I'd say Team LeBron will take it out.
Well, I'll go Team Giannis just so I'm against you.
Yeah.
I was going to go Team LeBron, but yeah, you went Team LeBron.
Big mistake.
Well.
You want to put $20 on this one?
All right. Anyway, guys, let us know what you think of the All-Star format. Let us comment. Just think, give us ideas just to talk about. Maybe, who knows, in the future your idea could actually be in the All-Star game. This idea actually popped up with Chris Paul, who's the leader of the NBA Players Association. So you never know. It could change in the future. The NBA is always looking to evolve the All-Star format.
Yeah,
so.
which is good.
Yeah.
Another thing before we move off the All-Star game, just briefly, was the team has slightly been altered with the injury of Damian Lillard.
Oh, yeah.
So Devin Booker's, I think, been named to replace him.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know how it comes down to that decision. Who makes that decision?
Adam Silver.
Silver
makes the NBA. So the commissioner decides who's the replacement. So I think that popped up last year as well. I can't remember who got injured, but Adam Silver named the replacement. And
I think there were a few injuries last year. There was a few more, but I was like just wondering who makes that, and I guess that comes down to it being a reserve. The reserves were already just decided by NBA and media, so I guess it doesn't matter the fan votes that they receive in that case. I think Devin Booker's probably pretty deserving of that spot.
He's been snubbed so many times. You're right.
Yeah, I think again it comes down to the team that he plays for. Yeah. And if you're talking about that, then you make your point about Trae Young being a starter and he's on a worse team than Phoenix, or they've got a worse record than Phoenix this year, so he definitely deserves to be on there.
We'll wrap the All-Star game format discussion up, and we'll go to the issues in Philly now, which it's been going for a couple of weeks now, and basically there was an ESPN report that said that Al Horford gave a post-interview after a game reporting locker room issues within the Sixers. Now, it's not good when one of your senior players, who's
never a good idea,
basically the main leader, says that there's locker room issues for a young Philly team. Okay, they're relatively young.
It's never good when anyone goes to the media. Full stop.
Exactly.
You just keep it in your locker room.
You know, there's a problem if you go into the media.
Yeah, definitely.
These issues seem to be stemming around Brett Brown's coaching.
Yeah.
The issue that you talked about before we started the podcast was who's the leader in Philly? Joel Embiid.
Yeah, who's the guy?
Who's the guy
you want? There's never been, when Jimmy Butler played for the team, when it came to the playoffs, it felt like they sort of settled into, Jimmy's going to be the guy when it comes to the fourth quarter.
Yep.
And then they lost Jimmy, and he was a good sort of leader with that dog mentality. Just get me the ball.
Yeah.
Now you're sitting with Ben Simmons and Joel, and you get to the fourth quarter, and you're like, who's going to take over the game?
Yeah.
You've got Tobias and you've got Al Horford, as you said, but it doesn't seem like there's any one of them is stepping up and being like, get me the ball.
Yeah.
I'm going to put this game away. There seems to be a bit of a blurred line as to who's leading this team. And
right. Well, going on that, like, who do you think should be the leader? Who do you think should be the leader of Philly? Because, like, they need to figure this out before the playoffs. I can't believe they're figuring this out in the middle of the season, or they haven't figured it out. They should have figured this out before the season started when Jimmy left.
Definitely.
So, who do you think? Who do you think should be the leader of this team?
Well, I think there's got to be some emphasis on Brett Brown needing to step up and start to be the leader as the coach, because you're the guy that's supposed to be keeping these egos in check. You're the one that's supposed to be, like, I feel like he does a good job not a very good job in demanding things from his players. Like, I remember the same sort of thing. He put a challenge out to the media for Ben Simmons to shoot threes, which I don't feel does a good job for Ben Simmons. I think he needs to be saying to Ben Simmons, you know, if he wants him to shoot threes, which I don't see. I know he needs to start shooting, but if you want your player to shoot threes, you got to say to him, look, you have to take this. You have to take some shots in a game. I don't care if you miss it.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's putting enough emphasis on what he needs. I think the issue is they've got some strong personalities in the team, and you need to be a bit more like Brad Stevens, who's not a player's coach, and you need to be like, this is the system I want played, and stick to that. You can't be letting your players get away with doing what they want. Like, there was issues when Ben Simmons, for instance, when they lost to Miami by 30 points, and he stayed there to party overnight or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, as a coach, you got to hold your players accountable and be like, no, you're coming back on the flight with our team.
Exactly.
We're going to work on this tonight.
Yeah.
There's no way you're staying here to party. We're a team, you know?
Yeah.
So that, I think, number one, he's got to step up. Brett Brown, he's been on the chopping block for this year, last year as well. So that's going to be something that he needs to start holding them accountable. Because I think in the NBA, you get a lot of big egos, and it becomes something that, you know, they want to get what they want, and you have to be able to keep those egos in check sometimes.
Exactly. You are right though that Brett Brown, I feel like all these issues are coach related. Like,
definitely.
Who was the leader? That's a Brett Brown issue. He's got to step up and say, all right, you're going to take the ball in the fourth quarter. Like, if the coach says something, you do it, right? Like,
exactly.
The coach has to do this. Like, the lack of coaching adjustments, I feel like that's a Brett Brown issue again. Brett Brown, him not being able to discipline Ben Simmons, like telling him to come on a plane from Miami after the loss. Brett Brown issue. Like, the coach has to stand up. This is just...
It's his job.
It's his job. And you're right, Jake. Like, these are Brett Brown issues, and it just starts from him.
And then it's spreading throughout the organization. So I think the next thing that you got to look at is the team needs to be it needs to invest in. I don't know how well it's going to work with Joel and Simmons and Al Horford. I feel like they're going further away from what they need to be doing.
Exactly.
So I was happy when they signed Al Horford because it's another big name. But when you look at where they should be going, they should be building around what they've got. So when I said just before, I don't know if Ben Simmons needs to be shooting threes. What I think is that they need to be putting players around him that can shoot the threes.
Exactly.
And because he does everything else on such a high level, why do you need him to shoot threes if he's got players that can shoot threes around him? He'll be drawing people in the paint and finding an open 3-point shooter.
Yeah.
And I think that they're just going further and further and further away from what they need to be doing. It's like you look at the Bucks this year, and they're looking crazy because they've got such good 3-point shooting, and they've built that team around Giannis. And he's slowly developing his 3-point shot. But there's all this emphasis on Ben Simmons early in his career. You got to shoot. And I don't think he gets the amount of the appreciation that he deserves for what he does well, because he does so many things on such an elite level. It's just his 3-point shooting, and maybe his jump shot isn't great, which he'll get over time. Giannis developed. He's in his 6th or 7th year now, and he's developing that 3-pointer now. But we're putting all this pressure on Ben Simmons in his 3rd, 4th year that he has to have a jump shot. He has to have this. But I don't think that's the case. I think they need to be investing in. If it was me, I would invest in Ben Simmons. I would look at their track record, and I think Ben Simmons is healthy when it comes to playoffs every year. Joel, on the other hand, he's a great player, very strong, could be a dominant force. He's never available when you need him. If we had Joel last year healthy in that series against the Raptors, we were up, was it 3-2 or something at one point? 3-2 or 3-1?
No, 2-1. You were up
2-1. Sorry. So we were up anyway, and there was in the next game he was injured he went out for 2 games or something and missed those 2 games and allowed Raptors to get back into it. I just think you're nuts to invest. If you're going to invest in one of these players, you look at who's got the most longevity coming, and you know, Ben Simmons is in better shape. So I think the issue it comes from the entire organization, and they're not building the team correctly. They don't have the coach holding players accountable, and then as such, players start doing things like they're doing. You got Joel putting out there that this stuff with with Jimmy Butler on the week
on the Instagram post,
So that stuff's happening because of the dysfunction that's been allowed in the locker room, from the organizational level down to the coaches. So it's just, I think you can't really blame the players for what's going on. I think it's just not a very functional system at the moment. There's just a lot of dysfunction throughout it. So,
no, that's a great analysis, Jake, of the Sixers' issues. I mean, for the viewers, tell us what you think of what's happening in Philly. Do you think they'll actually make the NBA Finals, if they'll even make it out of the East?
Will they get it together?
Will they even solve these problems that they're having? Because it's not a good look when players are speaking out to the media. This has to be sorted out internally. Definitely. And Jake, you provided a great analysis of, you know, what Brett Brown needs to do, you know, try to get that team cohesion back. So for the viewers, tell us what you think about that. About their chances. All right?
Well, on paper they should be. They were seen as probably the second team in the East all off season. So they've been pretty disappointing throughout the season. So we definitely need something to change. And I think everyone's got a different idea of what that needs to be. It's pretty up in the air, isn't it?
All right. Well, we'll leave it there for the Philly issue.
Yep.
All right, guys, we're going to move on to our hip-hop segment. As you know, we always talk about basketball and hip-hop. But we wanted to talk about one of our favourite rappers, or he's my favourite rapper. I don't know, Jake, could be your favourite rapper.
He's getting there,
Jermaine Lamarr Cole, formerly known as J. Cole. One of the greatest rappers in my mind, just so lyrically sound. We're going to be talking about his impact on hip hop, on the black community. Hell, just even personally, you know, he's definitely he's always had a soft spot in my heart. Like, just. You know, it's always, his music has always been something that I've always fallen back to.
When you're not feeling too.
Yeah, when I'm down, when I'm on the train, or if I'm not listening to any music, J. Cole is my fallback artist that I listen to. It's just he's just got a song for every situation in life. So we're going to be talking about his impact to you, to me, to the community, anything.
Yeah.
And so we're going to talk about specific lyrics that mean so much to us in our lives. So we'll start with your lyrics, your J. Cole lyrics that you love or you like to listen to, any song that you listen to. So we'll start off with that.
I was telling you before that my favorite song, based on just the entirety of the song, I just love the feel of the song, the vibes that it give off. But the message is good as well, and it's and it holds a special spot in my heart because it's called January 28th, which is actually my birthday. So I share the same birthday as J. Cole, which, you know, gives me a bit of pride for no reason, really. But I love the chorus of that song where it's saying, "Don't give him too much, you don't let him take control. There's one thing you do, don't let him taint your soul."
Exactly.
And I just love that lyric, that chorus. It's
why do you love that lyric? Like, don't let him taint your soul. If you believe in God, why?
Thing's for sure. I think I like to listen to that song when I feel like I'm just being scooped out.
Yep.
You know, I feel sometimes a lot in different situations in life you get, you can feel like you're just being taken from inside, and you know, with your job, you can feel like you're doing all this work and you're not getting any appreciation. So it's that lyric where you know, don't give him too much, don't let him take control. Like, I think I like to listen to that when I come home and I'm sitting there, just, you know, with everything on my mind. I'm sitting there stewing in my thoughts, and that song sort of lets you think, you know, why am I putting myself into this? Don't let them taint your soul. Like, don't let this stuff just beat you down inside. And I just like it's an easy song to listen to. It's got a good vibe to it.
Yeah.
It makes you sort of realize, like, you know, what am I holding on to this for? So yeah, I think it's a good song in that type of situation when you feel like you're down and you've been taken from all day or week at the end of the week, and you're like, oh, I just want to listen to a good vibe, and, you know, it just speaks to you in that sort of way. Cole does in so many of his songs. He speaks. It's like he speaks exactly to you. He's telling you what you need to hear. So that's probably why I like that song. Other than the fact that he's like, at the end of the song, he's like, check your birth date, you ain't the God. Makes me feel like, I'm the God.
Exactly right. Hey, well, okay, that's an interesting insight. Like, I mean, you have to believe in yourself, right? Like, no one's gonna believe in you unless you believe in yourself, and I feel like that was the message as well. With January 28th, and before this podcast, I was driving down. I was actually listening to that 2014 Forest Hills Drive album, which for me, it's probably top 3 album in my collection. It's got some great hits. January 28th, Fire Squad, Tale of Two Cities. Wow, what a song.
Yeah, definitely. No Role Models.
Yeah, and then he's got like less chill songs like Saint Tropez.
Get on my dick.
Yeah, GOMD. Yeah, exactly. and then the album has everything, because A Note to Yourself is like a 14-minute song, which is just thanking everyone. And then he becomes more personal in Wet Dreams. Even Wet Dreams is a bit more personal. Hey, like,
that's probably, I think Wet Dreams was the first song I heard by J. Cole. Funnily enough, a long time ago, and I remember just thinking, wow, like, what a storyteller. Like, I bet you for any guy that's that's lost their virginity, their first time, J. Cole's probably got something in that song that's you can relate to. That you can relate to. So if just trying to sound like the man.
Exactly.
Still trying to play it cool.
Exactly. Be confident and all that. That's an interesting analysis.
The line that every guy can relate to has got to be, teacher, please don't make me stand up.
Exactly.
Because everyone's been in class at one point in life and had a boner, and you're just like, damn, like, please don't make me stand up right now.
Exactly. Well, for me, one of my favorite Cole lyrics was in his For Your Eyes Only album for the song Immortal. So the line in it, I think it was in his third verse, when he's just sort of like acapella-ing.
The bridge, is it the bridge sort of one at the end?
Bridge
the last
verse,
one?
So I have it written down here. He says, to die a young legend or live a long life unfulfilled, 'cause you want to change the world, but while alive, you will never.
You never will.
Never will. So, sorry. And that resonates with me so much, because I get so scared, in thinking that I will never be living a fulfilling life, and get old and live life with regret, or do I die young and like accomplish all these things and
or even just like, it's almost saying you just by dying young, you sort of die a legend. You get
You'll
more
remember, yeah.
remembered. Whereas you just die old and quietly, no one would ever think twice.
Yeah,
you know?
no one bats an eye about you, and that's I feel like that's the struggle that we're living in is that you want to be remembered for what you did, for what the difference that you made in the world. But then, like, because you see so many people die young, and they made this, you know, it's just such an impact. Like Extentation, even
Park and Biggie.
Yeah, Park and Biggie,
Miller.
and I think that's who he was referring to in Immortal was Park and Biggie. You know, look at their impact after they have died.
They died. I think that's definitely what he's commenting on in the thing, is that almost there's this idea that you know, you can be big when you're alive, but if you die, that's when you become immortalized. Exactly. It's almost like the song Immortal is making a comment on that. It's like when after rappers die, they become like this way bigger than what they were before. It's like, I feel like XXX, when he died, became almost like a legend. It was most people sort of forgot all the allegations and all that stuff, and everyone's like, oh damn, like this guy made good music. And
Juice WRLD is another good example. He died young. Sure. You know, he made such an impact. So I feel like I'm living where I'm sure a lot of people, I'm speaking to the camera here, I'm sure a lot of people are living like that. Like they're in that divide of living a long life and not accomplishing anything. So, you know, just food for thought. That's what J. Cole does. He makes you think, and he's a poet and he's a thinker, and Definitely. It's so personal to you. So that's definitely one of my favorite lyrics. I mean, I have so many. I could talk all day about J. Cole, and I would, you know,
he just got too many good songs.
Yeah, too many good songs. I mean, Love Yours. Even in the intro when he goes, "There's no such thing as a life that's better than yours." Like there isn't.
That
like,
resonates with me hard. That song.
You control your own life. Like you control how things are. If you want to make it better, it's on you.
It plays on the whole. The grass is greener on the other side type of thought. You know, like it's so easy to get caught up in life in like I wish I had this, or like especially. A lot of people, I think his main comment is, you know, a lot of people wanting fame and money, and so easy to get caught up in what you're doing and be like, oh, I wish I had this, I wish I had this.
Yeah.
And I love that song for just putting it into a perspective of, you know, there's no such thing as a life that's better than yours. You know, like he comments later, he's like, there's always going to be a house that's bigger, always going to be like, you know, there's always going to be when you get money, it's never going to be enough. There's always going to be something else that you can wish. Exactly. So you just got to be happy with what you've got in the moment. And that it's a great song for putting it when you are feeling sort of down. You can listen to that and think, man, he's right. There's no such thing as a life that's better than mine. Yeah. You know, you can think that there is, and that's just a way of stewing in some negativity. But
exactly.
You can look at it in two ways, in that you've got life and you know, you can do whatever you want with your life. It's just on you to actually do that. You can sit and stew, or you can sit there and be like, I've actually got it pretty good.
Yeah.
And I think he makes that sort of commentary, but it's hard to. Sometimes it's hard to hear that coming from a rich person, you know, like it is easier to say when you've got the money to be like, oh, like you don't need money to be happy. But I think coming from Cole, he's been in the situation without money, and so he can sort of make that commentary. It's like, what's money without happiness?
Yeah.
Or hard times without the people you love.
Exactly.
You
know? Well, no, that's a good insight, Jake. You're right. Like you notice in his lyrics now, like when he was younger, I don't know if you ever listened to like when like the Come Up, his first album and all that. Is less mature.
It was. He definitely matured a bit as time went on.
Yeah. So now he's become wiser. He's much more sort of being the father figure in the rap game now. With that, you even like so in his song Middle Child, he talks about him being like stuck in this
stuck being between the old rap with the old rappers and teaching the new rappers.
Yeah.
Now, like he even says that in Middle Child. That's symbolic of him being stuck in the middle.
Child, yeah.
Guys like him, Kendrick, and that, they're all stuck in this middle ground because there's like the new guys doing trap music, which I don't have a problem with. Like I'm not against it, but I think I think some of the stuff is good. But like it's sort of disrespecting what the old guys did, like Park, Biggie, Nas, even Jay-Z, Dre, Snoop. They created this movement.
They paved the way, and now it's changed. It's going in a different direction.
It's going in a different direction, like mumble rap. Can't even understand the words or the lyrics. Like I said, I still find it entertaining, but it's different, and J. Cole is stuck in that divide. So did you want to talk about the features that he's been on, like the 2019 features that J. Cole you were talking about?
He was just on everyone's features in 2019, man.
Exactly.
He actually, I love how he's very aware of. He's very self-aware. That's the thing that's good about Cole. He on 21 Savage's song a lot. He talks about how he's like making it my mission to be on everyone's album, be on everyone's track, and then he's like oh, I'm betting 1,000 these people won't like rapping with me like at the end of it, because he's like pretty much saying how he's going to show everyone up. And I love that. I love his confidence in himself, because he's very self-assured. He doesn't need to prove himself to anyone. He's done a lot of he seems to appear on tracks and just one up the person that he's on with. I know a lot of my favorite Bars songs, who's actually signed with Dreamville as well. He appears on a lot of those Bars songs, and I feel like he comes in and just absolutely destroys it.
Exactly right. He does.
He had one last year. I think it was Tribe. Or was that
Tribe?
The one with Bars? Yeah.
Yep, that's right.
That one, I don't feel like I feel like that was a bit more. They were both on par with each other in that song, and I really like that. Yeah. The brotherhood that he shows in that song with Bars, which is another thing that I do love about Cole, is he seems to be. He's not the type of guy that's out there looking for beef. He's looking at, he wants to be everyone's. He wants to help everyone. He wants even in his latest album. What's the song called? He does a response
KOD?
On KOD, but there's the response to Lil Pump, where it's sort of a diss track, but it's not really a diss track. I'm having a mental blank of what it's called, but. He pretty much he's pretty much responding to that song by Lil Pump, where he's like, fuck J. Cole. Just a stupid song, really. It's a dumb song with no substance to it, but J. Cole comes back with a really profound, smart response, where he's not sitting there saying, oh, screw Lil Pump. He's actually trying to give him advice. He's taking that father figure like you're talking about. He's saying to him, you're not going to be making money forever, so do the best that you can with what you've got, the platform you have, and don't waste it while you're in it, because this money isn't going to be forever. And like, that's just the type of thing that J. Cole does. He's in it. He's in this new level above, where he sees the bigger picture. I think we talked about it briefly last week. I feel like he's taken a step above everyone. Where he's like immortalized in his he knows how his impact, and he knows what to do with it.
Exactly.
And not a lot of people are that self-aware and that self-assured. So, I mean, what were some of your favorite tracks that he appeared on last year? Because I'm struggling to think of some of them. There was just so many features that he appeared on last year.
Well, I don't know if it was in 2019, but he has this song with one of his good friends, Wale, called My Boy. It's a really good freestyle. For anyone who doesn't listen to J. Cole, listen to that song. He just spits fire on that song. Hey, that Off Days with JID. That went hard. He had a lot by with 21 Savage. Oh God. Yeah, he had a few. I can't remember.
He just was just everywhere. Like
shitting on everyone else's song. So, but that's J. Cole. And going back to what you said about him, him not taking part in a beef with Little Pump. That's just showing his maturity. Like, he's just tired. Like, what's the point of going in this diss game or beef game? Like, it's just no point in doing it. And so it's just showing his maturity that, like, hey, I'm trying to teach you something. I'm not like, I'm just educating you. I'm not gonna get into a useless argument or whatever, just so we can make more money. Like, that's not who I am. Yeah. And hey, if Lil Pump doesn't want to listen to him, he doesn't have to. That's fine. Yeah, that's
not making a difference.
It doesn't affect J. Cole one bit. He's just out here trying to teach and be a poet. Yeah.
Yeah, he really is. He really has taken above, in my opinion, gone above Kendrick in that he seems to be on a whole nother level in his own mind. He knows where and it comes through on his music, man. He's very, like, the bars that he puts up in Middle Child. He's like, I studied the greats, I'm the greatest right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's true, man. Like, it comes through in his music. He proves time and time again, and he's aware that what he can go on someone's track and just spit fire, and like I just love listening to him. He's just such a good person to vibe out to.
Exactly.
And there's a reason why he's your favorite rapper. I can see why. You know, like, he's getting there for me as well.
We'll leave it there with J. Cole. I mean, we could talk all day, guys.
Yeah,
but
we could really.
We'll end the podcast there. But thanks for listening in. Remember to hit like, subscribe, comment on us. We really appreciate your support for the podcast. Yeah. But on behalf of Jake and I, that's our third episode. We'll keep bringing more content. Let us know if you have any ideas of what we should talk about in the future. That's always a big help. But on definitely. Behalf of Off on Tangents, we'll leave it there. Peace, guys.
Thanks, guys.